A woman can fertilize herself and give birth to a child without the aid of a man.
I state that if the menses was cessated, if it stopped, if the blood loss and even the alkaline lipase loss was ceased and stopped, then not only would women be very strong, and they wouldn't be intuitive, they would be psychic, but they also could give birth to babies without a man being anywhere around. And there is the key to your problem and your problematic solution. You've bought into the coat's lie, the white coat's lie, the medical doctor's lie, which came about under a patriarchal system. If you start understanding the cadavers that were messed with in England and France at the turn of the 17th, 18th century, and experimentation still goes on. In fact, they, by law, are given under the caduceus the right to practice. And the practice is upon, in many cases, you as females. The silk moth. The silk moth reproduces and never mates. Reproduces without a mate. And as the ancient Egyptians tried to point out, the scarabus beetle, reproduces without a mate and can shed its skin and goes along every 7 years quite well. It dies when it does mate. And if you remember, on the Ankh and the scarabus, you found in your Valley of the Kings, and you found again amongst the pyramid and on the Sphinx itself that sacred symbol of the scarabus. They were trying to convey something. Most of us have forgotten or never knew what they were trying to convey. Dr. Stanley Balfour Lynn, Dr. Bernard Camber, Dr. David Wine Williams, and Dr. A.E. Morant all studied some 10 classical cases of virgin births and agreed that all 10 of them were real, that in some way parthenogenesis, bringing to birth without the union of sperm and egg, had occurred in all 10 of those cases, bar nothing. The most famous or classical case of virgin birth was by Mrs. Emma Marie Jones, a German woman who during the height of the war, World War II, 1944, had been locked in her castle, a big estate, because it had been bombed, and everybody thought that everybody inside had been killed. And so for 17 months she stayed in there. She was not pregnant when she went in. When she came out, she was 9 months pregnant. There had been no men in there. In 1975, they connected a vibrational detecting device to an unfertilized egg, and they got a rhythmic pulsing beat just like that of a human heart or pulse. What is generally an unfertilized egg? Somebody kind of share with me quickly from the audience. What's the difference between an unfertilized egg and a fertilized egg? Chicken didn't mate, no males around. Yet they have detected, and that experiment has been tried and tried again, some kind of rhythm or pulse within that egg itself. They also found in vertebrates, those that have a central vertebral column again, a spine if you would, that on the phases and oscillations of the moon, that pulse varied, but was always even more intense. For centuries, people had believed in a theory of parthenogenesis. I repeat, parthenogenesis.
All right, when we're dealing with parthenogenesis, and I got it right here, but don't worry, I'm going to give you the science and I'm going to show you what happened in what date is this? July 7th, 2013. Can't see it, but I can see it. So this was 3 years ago that this happened. What happens is in the bone marrow of black women, they were producing sperm. This sperm was being secreted out of today 2 pea-sized glands under the vagina. Women, y'all probably familiar with these glands. If you ever been to the doctor or whatever, they're called your Bartholin glands. They're on each side of the vagina. They're pea-sized. And in these Bartholin glands, you have little openings called Bartholin ducts. And the sperm will shoot out of these Bartholin ducts into the womb of the vagina and fertilize the egg, called parthenogenesis. Now, why is it important? The same way women get wet today, you call it getting wet, whatever you want to call it, imagine if sperm was coming out. So with that being said, when women self-fertilize themselves, this was the process.
And parthenogenesis, or virgin birth, was acceptable and was your immaculate, wonderful way. All of your ancient gods, so-called, or avatars or presentors were said to have been of what? Virgin birth. Now we laugh at that. Most athletic women find a wonderful, horrible thing that happens to them. Boy, Blaire, you can't get your stuff straight. Wonderful, horrible. What a way to put adjectives together. The wonderful thing is that they find that they don't suffer through the monthly menses, and they may even skip months and even have at the most a 30-hour menses. The horrible thing is they think they're pregnant or worse. That's a wonderful, horrible sensation. Women then, of course, as they have before, then go to the doctors to get straight. And they do. The poor, ignorant mother, please mothers, don't get angry with me, let me finish, not knowing any better, suffers greatly with her daughter. The poor, ignorant father, not knowing any more than the mother or daughter, suffers equally and says, yes, something must be wrong, and they all run to the great white coats in the sky for direction and and help. Usually after 6 to 8 weeks, the male fetus starts to secrete testosterone, otherwise it would remain a female. All males start off life as a female in the womb, presently in this moon cycle. When a woman exposed to moonlight at certain days of the month or sunlight at certain days of the month can suffer again even worse menses based again on the amount of meat in her system and the thoughts on her mind. And she's been separated from her higher consciousness. That's why through meditation and prayer, changing of the diet and exercising, not only will the body become stronger and bring out the more higher cycle of the angelic form of woman, but will cause you also to begin to dream in color and understand who you were, because you then lose the reality of the physical body and go into the real illusion of the spiritual self. The awakening has begun, and now women must worry about cysts, because as our sun puts out more energy, and this summer that's all you're going to hear about, women will begin to produce cysts like mad. And if you eat meat, you're going to produce dermoid cysts and go through all kinds of trauma, especially the lower the phylum of the meat that you ingest. Because the vibrations are low, and the body must get rid of it, and the sun will work on it, and it will try and bring it to term, because that's why it thinks you ate the meat. Did you hear me? You didn't hear me. So not only does a woman then suffer the menses, but if she also has leukorrhea, she is constantly losing the ability to build life-giving blood cells, which anyone knows without that the body does what? Deteriorates. Some women are on a constant menses. And then you wonder why some women are very irritable, very agitative, anemic. They get dizzy and have migraine headaches and jump at the sound of a firecracker 20 miles away, which they think they can hear. If anyone suffered that kind of loss from puberty till death, I wonder again why women are not half crazy. There are some men and other women that say they are. I didn't say it. I say, faced with that loss, we could have a problem. What is very interesting is that not all women on this planet menstruate. Also, not all women on this planet have ever menstruated. But all women think that all women do. Let me also spend a little time with that concept. Most Hindu women do not, and definitely did not, menstruate. One of the last famous Hindu women to achieve prominence on the world stage was Indira Gandhi, who, until she started doing certain things and making certain practices as she toured the world, readily admitted she had not suffered a menstrual period until she began to do these things. Had she but followed her religious undertakings, maybe it never would have started. Most ancient African or Kemetic women did not menstruate. Not Belkis, not Hypatia, not any of the so-called queens of Africa seemingly did once they began to have knowledge of self. The Oracle of the Delphi, according to the Greeks, were a group of women who pontificated and led Greece through its heyday. It was not led by the warrior men. They did the fighting. The thinking was done by the oracles, and many of the oracles were females. They are said that the oracles did not menstruate. We hear a lot of talk about the Amazon women, the Teutonic women, the Gauls, the West African Watetas, the East African Bossamans, the Andambis of the Congo. Most of these Oceanic women and most of these Kemetic women did not menstruate. These women were the strong women of our history. High alkaline diets, enzymes, fresh juices, plenty of chlorophyll, oxygen-containing foods, along with deep breathing and exercises, shortens the menstrual cycle. Did you hear what I just stated to you? High alkaline diets, freshly squeezed and freshly run fruit and vegetable juices containing enzymes and life force, heavy chlorophyll containing products. Chlorophyll allows you to do as the plants do to some extent, become photosynthetic. You can change light into usable energy and energy into usable light. High chlorophyll containing diets, plenty of exercise, plenty of deep breathing reduces the menstrual cycle. A lack of the exercise, a lack of life-giving foods and meat diets produces the menstrual cycle and reverts you back to the lower vibration of the animal for the human that you are, the animal person.
A woman supposed to see her menses every month according to the norm? Yes, not according to life. History didn't show that, doesn't show that. I am told by many ancient people that the woman used to menstruate once every 4 years.
Wow. What?
And only for 10 minutes.
Right.
But her body was clean.
Of course.
And my sperm wasn't white, it was green.
Wow.
Now my sperm is white, and you have a mens every month. You're releasing an ovum every month that is unnatural because you're accelerating the body. High metabolism. No. So when some of them says that the menses stop, there could be a good reason, there could be a good thing.
That sounds good. So they're still fertile, you think?
Sure.
Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, ETL NTD. Love.